Before we get to the speaker, we wanted to check in with Congressman Smith. He joins us now, and he's a Democrat from Washington State, so perhaps he'll have a different viewpoint than we'll hear from Speaker Johnson. So welcome, sir, and thanks so much for coming on. For our viewers, just so they know, you voted against the government funding plan that initially passed the House. Your voting record, though, shows you've supported continuing resolutions in the past. So why are you opposed to the GOP plan this time?
Well, because it's not bipartisan. There was no effort whatsoever to include Democrats in the discussion. Every other CR that I've ever voted for was negotiated between Republicans and Democrats, because you need Republican and Democratic votes to pass a continuing resolution, even if one party controls both the House and the Senate and the House, the Senate, and the White House. This time, you need 7 Democratic votes in the Senate. The Republicans passed a continuing resolution that did not negotiate with Democrats at all and simply continued the Republican budget that had been passed in March. And it's really rather remarkable that Mike Johnson continues to hold that position. He demands Democratic votes and then says that Democrats have to vote for the Republican budget and refuses to negotiate with us. I mean, he refuses to even bring the House back into session. And the Republican budget has prioritized Department of Homeland Security, Department of Defense, while making massive cuts to health care. And we're seeing that. Health care costs are going up. Millions of people are going to lose their health care insurance. And if the Republicans support that budget, that's fine. They can vote for it. But then to demand the Democrats vote for that budget when we don't support it, quite simply doesn't make any sense. We should be back in session in the House, and we should be negotiating.
Sure.
You want Democratic votes? Let's talk.
Sure. I know that's the sticking point, the subsidies on the Affordable Care Act. We'll get to that in a moment, but I wanted to play this for you. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, he was on ABC News over the weekend. He was asked about a plan on the subsidies, what we're talking about here, while opening up the government. In the meantime, here is the Minority Leader.
Senator Thune is offering there is to have a vote on a Democratic or bipartisan plan to extend those subsidies so people's premiums don't go up, as they will now dramatically in January, if the Democrats simply agree to vote to have that temporary funding extension. Is that something you would be willing to agree with? You get your vote on health care, but you also reopen the government.
I think what we've said is that we will not support a partisan Republican spending bill, which is the bill that they continue to bring before the Senate.
So, and that's the exact talking point that you gave as well. Again, you called it partisan.
Well, no, it's not the exact talking point that I gave as well, actually. And the thing is, they'll give us a vote in the Senate, by the way, not in the House. We don't want a vote on this. They've had votes on this in the Senate repeatedly because the Democrats offered our version of a continuing resolution that reflects Democratic priorities. The Senate has, I think, voted not to allow that to come up for a vote in the Senate, but that's a vote. A vote on it doesn't change anything. Then we pass the Republican CR. No, we want actually this to pass into law or some portion of it. And look, we have made the proposal that we want to extend the Affordable Care Act subsidies. That's what we've proposed. If the Republicans want to counter with something, let's have that conversation. But saying we will give you a vote on your plan, we will defeat it, and then you will vote and pass into law our plan, that's not the way these negotiations are supposed to go.
And clearly, there's not much conversation going on. I think we can see that, and the government remains shut down in the meantime. There are real people impacted by these shutdowns.
Absolutely.
Not just those who are traveling, right, who might see delays at the airport, or military members who might be unsure about whether or not they will receive their pay. The president seems to be confident that they will. But members of Congress are still being paid during the shutdown. Do you believe they should continue to receive a paycheck when other federal employees are not?
Well, no one's getting paid yet because we don't get paid till the end of the month. So it's not true to say that members of Congress have gotten paid. We don't get paid that way. But no, I don't think members of Congress should be getting paid. I think all federal employees should be getting paid. But again, to your point, what I really want voters to understand, yes, there should be negotiations. It is Mike Johnson and the House Republicans who have decided not just not to negotiate, but to shut down the United States House of Representatives. We haven't been in session for weeks. He has no intention of bringing us back. During every other shutdown, we were in session. I was there for several of them. We were in session trying to work out the differences. Now they've shut it down. And one final point that's really important is President Trump continues to ignore congressional intent on spending and cut funding to what he likes to refer to as Democratic programs in Democratic states. So part of what we need to negotiate here as well is some restriction on that. If you come in and say, okay, we cut a deal, here's what we're going to spend money on, and then President Trump says, no, I don't have to follow the law. I'm going to stop spending money on the things that Democrats want. I mean, why would we agree to that? We should be in session. We should be negotiating this. Or
well, you agree to it because it's a clean CR, right? To keep the government funded until mid-November, and then you can talk about the subsidies at a later point.
But understand what a clean CR is. It's a continuing resolution. So the question is, well, what does it resolve to continue? It resolves to continue President Trump and the Republican budget. That's what it does. It keeps funding the budget. It's not some neutral thing that doesn't impact anything. The Republican budget that we didn't support in March.
But it ends the shutdown.
Well, sure, yes, it ends the shutdown by allowing Donald Trump and the Republicans to continue to fund the government and run the government exactly how they want. We don't agree with that. Now, we can have that argument about how he's using the Justice Department, what he's doing on health care, what he's doing on things like SNAP, all the different ways he's running the government. And if you like that, great, go ahead and vote for it. But why should a Democrat vote for a Donald Trump Republican budget without them negotiating with us or giving us absolutely anything on the priorities that we think are important for the American people? It just doesn't make any sense.
And that's why we saw the one big beautiful bill get passed with the Republicans. So, of course, voters had their chance, the last election. Either way, thank you so much for taking the time with us. That is Washington Congressman Adam Smith and sharing your perspective.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate the chance.